I chose to read a book of curated articles that is teaching gifted learners in STEM subjects, developing talent in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It was a combination of about 19 articles. It roughly had four different sections of the book. Our objective today is to identify and discuss the four main ideas of the book. I initially chose this book only because of the title. I wasn't really sure what it was about, and I'll be honest, I procrastinated doing the assignment. However, of course, I came to really appreciate this book. It opened my eyes to some ideas in STEM I was thinking about but hadn't solidified and hadn't done appropriate research. This book will definitely impact my professional endeavors. It discusses how to identify students who are gifted and can be independent and strong learners, but it also talks about resources to help create and maybe push students who are just right on the verge of being gifted. And so that's really something I am interested in, is making sure that we reach all students who have the potential to be gifted. So our agenda, there'll just be a quick introduction. We'll go over the four parts of the book, and then of course a nice conclusion. Part one started talking about students and teachers, and it dealt with the fact that some programs have great instructions and great ideas on how to teach students, and they really created engaged learners. But it also talked about, here at the bottom, you can see that third bullet point, it encourages teachers to really understand gifted students and to make sure that they're not assuming that all the students can do everything, but to really reflect on their own practices and to make sure that they're just using good instruction to engage all learners. Not every student who is identified as gifted learns without proper instruction. And in fact, there was this great quote, and forgive me, but since I'm not looking at you guys face to face, I'm going to read it to you. Intellectually gifted students are being tossed into the deep end of the pool. When they fail to rise above the water, they are dismissed from programs as failures. Those that manage to not drown are held up as a justification for the system, even when the intellectual survivors wish for a different system. Students often find themselves held to high expectations with few supports. I think we've had this discussion before that, not everybody who has that GT designation finds learning super, super easy. And often things like the discovery method or kind of learn it on your own doesn't work for every single topic. And that's really what the section one was talking about. It was to be sensitive and to think about the students who need a little bit of extra support from teachers and just good overall instruction. The second few chapters of the book dealt mostly with families and what do conventional gifted students look like. It did mention that students who show persistence before high school have a higher likelihood of remaining in STEM subjects, but it kind of left it at that. It didn't say what created that resistance or how they developed it. So since it was in a chapter with other parents, I'm going to make the leap that perhaps this is encouraging parents to be persistent and to continually to expose their kids if they can. One surprise in the book was that parent level of education or citizenship status didn't play a significant role in student success in STEM classes. What did play a significant role was whether one or both parents or parental figures were employed in the STEM education or STEM fields. So if somebody in the family was already in the STEM fields, the students had a tendency to stick with it longer than other students. It also shows that parents and teachers should encourage girls from a young age, and particularly before before 7th grade. So I found it interesting that socioeconomic status and citizenship status did not play a significant role. I think we might have found thought counterintuitive to that. So that was nice to see. The next piece of the book is just several case studies from all over the world. I'm going to talk about my two favorite. One is from a in Hungary, I believe, Lehos Hossa. He's a famous mathematician, and he is known for having weekend camps that are still happening to this very day. He began them in the 80s, and they are weekend camps that really encourage students who are very gifted to come together and to try to solve challenging programs. The interesting thing about him is that he is not a formally educated teacher. He is a mathematician who likes to teach. And so, going off the quote I read before, he also mentioned that inquiry learning wasn't perfect for mathematics, and that in fact, even the most gifted student could benefit from um, being fed ideas from instructors, but also being able to talk those ideas out with peers. So he said, and this is his takeaway, was that inquiry learning, collaboration, and mentoring fostered high levels of creativity and achievement for young math learners. But that mentoring was direct teaching, the ability to ask questions about what to do next and to have some guidance. My other favorite case study was it's really an online forum called Ask Heinrich. And despite the name, I assumed it wouldn't be domestic, but it is. It is, oh wait, it's not. It's at Cambridge University. And the purpose of the forum is to link gifted and talented mathematicians to one another. And I like that I found it. It's just a completely open forum, and upper high school students and college students can pose a mathematical question on the forum, and then there's lots of discussions about how to solve high level math. And I found this really interesting because I intend to use it next year. We have a sophomore, hear me out, guys, a sophomore young lady at my high school who has done Cal 1 and Cal 2, so it's Cal AB and BC, and she is looking at doing advanced number theory as an independent study. And so I am going to hook her up to this and see if it can help her through it. The last section of our of this book talked about STEAM education, but it's not the STEAM that we think it is. Instead of science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, this was agriculture. So this the whole idea is that if agriculture had been included the entire time, that we might not be at the environmental crisis that we are now. If science and technology had continually taken the environment into effect, how it would impact crops or other areas, then this scientist states that he believes that there would have been um, just a much more smooth, uh, wouldn't be as much of a division between technology and environmental concerns. And in fact, here's a really great quote. And once again, I'm going to read it to you. It is imperative to consider agricultural issues such as trans-Pacific Strategic Economic Partnership Agreement and genetically modified foods from political, economic, and ethical perspectives. STEAM education has the potential to educate young gifted children by connecting the local culture to global sciences, thereby supporting an understanding of meaningful, peaceful, and sustainable societies from early childhood. I thought this was just an amazing idea, and this article was published in 2018. So I don't know if it's a relatively new idea or if it's just an idea that's been conveniently ignored. But I loved the idea of encouraging or including agriculture in that big STEM push. The article also discussed if agriculture were included, then there would be certain agrarian areas that would not be excluded from high levels of learning or from focus in academic cultures. And so I was really grateful that that idea was presented to me. In conclusion, I wish that the author had included a more cohesive structure for the book. I kind of dug out my own separation of the 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 articles without any direction, and I think I did a good job. I mean, I don't see how else to do it, but I kind of wish that it had been organized for me so I knew what I was looking for. The curated work of articles that absolutely impacted my STEM knowledge. I will keep this book to refer to as I work as a educator who trains students, but who also trains other educators as we look to find ways to impact gifted students, to create more meaningful lessons, and to just teach them in ways that bring more peace and success into their minds. Uh, I was happy to see that yes, there are some programs that are absolutely designed for gifted students, and there are many, 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 many of us, myself included, who do not qualify. But there is a large body of work about finding those students who maybe through environmental or life reasons are not identified as gifted. And so, if we can, the more students that we can include in higher levels of learning, I believe the more lives that we can change. Um, I'm grateful for both cases of education, but I'm also glad to see that there are clear distinctions and clear conversations about both. I thought that the STEAM education was a wonderful idea with huge implications, and I'm very glad that I was introduced to that. Here are my references. Thank you guys so much. Oh wait, didn't click on them. There we go. References and awesome. Go Hawks. Thank you so much, you guys. I miss y'all. Have a wonderful day.